Okay, so this is a new style of video that I'm going to do, and it's going to be the etymological esotericism is kind of what I was thinking made sense for this. And so I'm basically just going to be looking into the etymology of words from kind of an esoteric standpoint, to some degree, at least including the esoteric standpoint, but not just the esoteric standpoint. So just kind of looking into stuff. And it's like, I'm not trying to say that anything only means or just means something. It's just, I'm just kind of exploring into this stuff, and I find it interesting. So that's what we're doing here. I'm going to go ahead and record my screen. And so right now, I just trying to time the thing, and that's the first time that I did the pen. So there's going to be a little, when I do the pen on it, so I'm going to put the iPad screen over here, and then when I'm going to do a line, that'll show up on the screen. So kind of know what I'm looking at. So this one here is, they're going to be kind of two, well, I'm going to be looking at one word, but I had a connection with another word. So it's kind of a comparison between both of these words. And I don't even think that this is actually just esoteric. Yeah, we've got esotericism in here a little bit, but okay. So the word is conscience. I don't know how to say it exactly, but the spelling of it is C-O-N and then science, So conscience, which seems kind of weird actually, because of con. Anyways, we'll get into that. Okay, so this is saying, conscience comes from Latin, conscienta, okay, conscienta. From con, meaning with or together, and then sire, to know, which is weird because that doesn't exactly align with the Latin word, conscienta. Okay, but then so with together, sire, to know, and it says it literally means knowing with or shared knowledge, the sense of knowing together with oneself, or having an inner witness. Inner witness. I find that's interesting. Okay. Also, I'm kind of just having fun drawing lines on here. And then the connection or a comparison to conscious. Okay, so conscious comes from Latin conscious. Knowing with others or in oneself, privy to. Okay, so both conscience and conscious share the root relating to knowing. It's pretty interesting. So conscience is the inner sense that lets you know with yourself whether something is right or wrong. Consciousness is the general state of being aware. In a way, conscience is the moral aspect of consciousness. Now, that's when I was reading this, and I'm like, holy, that is very interesting. So, continuing on. The kitty was rubbing on my leg. Sorry, I couldn't pet him. I'll pet you a little later, buddy. All right, so then the next thing was, here we go, the symbolic and philosophical framing. Okay, so when you become conscious, you are aware. When you develop conscience, you are not just aware, but aware of the moral dimension of your actions. It's awareness with a moral mirror. So yes, conscience equals conscious plus moral discernment. That's wild. That's very wild, actually. Okay, so moving on to number 4. So this is the esoteric and psychological perspective. I mean, I think we already kind of had it. I do look into Steiner a bit. So you'll see here, we've got Steiner. So anyways, Rudolf Steiner. All right, so esoteric and psychological perspective. In spiritual science, Steiner, etc., Conscience is seen as the higher self or spiritual I, beginning to speak within you, guiding you toward truth, even when nobody else is watching. And then Jung, we've got Jung in here, okay? Jung would say conscience is the part of the psyche attuned to deeper laws, sometimes manifesting as the voice of the self with the capital S. So, right, yeah, there we go. Steiner is the esoteric framing with spiritual science, and then Jung is going to be the psychological perspective, of course. Okay, so here we go. So wordplay, let's check this out. It says, if you riff on it further, to be truly conscious is to eventually awaken conscience. Dude, I keep on saying conscience because I don't know how else to say it. But conscience is the consciousness of morality. This is insane. That's wild to think about. In the biblical context, eating from the tree brought both. They became conscious, self-aware, and developed conscience, knowing of good and evil. I actually didn't even read that part. I'm just reading that right now. Wow, that's super weird. I swear, the next question that I had with AI after it gave me this prompt and when I was looking into that, I was looking into that. So maybe, anyways, that's really interesting. Okay, so practical framing. You could say animals are conscious and aware, or conscious, aware, but not necessarily conscientious, conscientious in the moral sense. Okay, that's interesting. I'm gonna figure out how to say that word. Humans, after the fall, possess both consciousness and the burden / blessing of conscience. Wow. So lately I've been kind of thinking of an analogy, and drinking from the draft of remembrance. It's like the best way that you could relate it to is, as it says in lots of stuff, people being drunk or people sleeping, So it's like if you could drink something that would make you the opposite of drunk. A lot of people you try to numb your awareness. You try to suppress your awareness because being aware of stuff is sometimes painful, especially if you're conscious. But even if you're just conscious, it's kind of difficult to be aware because there's usually a lot of, there's a lot of stuff going on. So anyways, being conscious is like drinking from the draft of remembrance and not drinking from the draft of forgetfulness. Anyways, that was a super wild, just look at that word. Curious to see if anyone has any thoughts about that. All right, there we go.